everyone. Hello guys, hello everyone. In fashion and design. So please, let's come online, let's start. Everyone, let's start please. You guys should come online. Let's talk about something very important. I want to quickly talk about, oh, my mic. My mic, oh. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Hi, I bring you greetings from wheresoever you are watching this video from. I greet you, okay? I greet you. Wherever you're watching me from, I greet you. So quickly this evening, I want to talk about, how to start your own fashion brand. How can you start your own fashion brand? Whether you are a fashion designer or an anticipating fashion designer. I want to quickly talk about how you can start your own fashion brand with whatsoever that you have, with the minimal you have, with whatsoever you have, whether you have all the equipment or you are starting from the scratch. Okay, I want to talk about how you can start your own fashion brand. So I want to talk about how you can start your own fashion brand. I will continue with this class prior to when more people join the class. I will continue talking. I can't continue waiting for many people to join the class. What I will do is later on, I will post the video. So my name is Esther. Welcome to Esther's Signatures. Okay. In this very platform, I talk about fashion. I'm a fashion designer based in Nigeria. I am into making of female clothes. I equally make male clothes, but I specialize on making female clothes, children clothes, then inner wears like panties, bra, swimming trunk, hairband, stuff like that. These are the things that I am into, all right? So, but this very night, this very evening, I want to talk about how you can start your fashion brand with what you have, with whatsoever you have. So, let me just go straight to the class, okay? First of all, what aspect of fashion and design do you have interest in? Have you learned fashion and designing? Have you learned? If you've not, first of all, if you want to start fashion and designing, you should know that this is a broad skill. Fashion and design is a broad skill, and you cannot do everything. You can't be in all the aspects of fashion and designing. So if you want to become a fashion and designer, first of all, you have to have the zeal. How do you know if you have zeal for something? If you are someone that likes fashion, you know, when styles, when different styles comes into existence or starts trending, you are this type that you always want to, you always want to try out new things. Like if you know you like fashion and designing, if you know you like fashion, you like dressing up, you have the zeal to look very well, to look cute. This is one sign that might show that you have zeal for fashion and design. Okay, because this field is very broad, it is very, like, it's big. You cannot just wake up one morning and say, I want to go into fashion and design. You must have the zeal. Most of us, we started having the zeal from childhood. From childhood. So if you have the zeal for fashion, you can actually go into fashion and design. But if you don't have the zeal, it's better you sit and find out what you have zeal for. That is one thing. That is the first step. You must have the zeal before you go into fashion and design. If you don't have the zeal, you cannot do it. Okay, let me use myself for an example. When I came out from the high institution, from the university, I read computer science, okay? So when I came out from the university, I did my youth service. After my youth service, I got a banking job. Then I started working in the bank. But before then, I've had this zeal. I've been a fashionista. I love fashion. Like I love fashion. I love trying out new things. I love fixing things by myself, fixing my clothes by myself while I was in secondary school. So when I came out from high institution, I've had this zeal to become a fashion and designer. So, but because there was no opportunity for me then, because immediately I came out from the high institution, I started serving. I did my NYSC. Then after my NYSC, I got a job directly to the bank and I started working. But I've had the zeal to learn fashion and designing. So what I did was, after some years in the banking sector, after like 2 years in the banking sector, I resigned and I came out. I just went straight to Enugu. I registered for fashion and designing. I registered in a fashion school. That was how I motivated. That was how I ignited the fire in me for fashion and designing. And I started learning. As I was learning, I was making clothes for myself. Initially, my intention was just to learn and start making clothes for myself because I love fashion a lot, okay? And then I felt it would be right if I, it would be so right if I learn and if I'm making my clothes by myself, okay? And my loved ones, my friends as well. So that was actually what pushed me into fashion and design. And today I will tell you that uh, I'm so happy that I did that. So the what I'm trying to say is that you must have zeal. You must have the zeal before you become a fashion and designer. You must have the zeal. Okay. If you don't have the zeal, you cannot or you might not succeed in the field. So when you when you've discovered that you have the zeal, the next point you should consider is ambition. You have to be ambitious to succeed in this field because it is not easy. Why starting? It is not easy. If you are not ambitious, you might stop halfway. So, for you to succeed in this very field, you have to be ambitious. You have to tell yourself, I want to be a good fashion and designer. I want to be a good male cloth maker, dressmaker. I want to be a good female dressmaker. I want to be a good children dressmaker. Then, if you are ambitious, know that you will succeed. The next point is for you to discover the particular aspects you will go into in fashion. Because remember I said it's broad, it's vast, it's vast. The field is vast, okay? It is very big. So it's either you are a male cloth maker, a female can be a male cloth maker. A male can be a female cloth maker. Anybody can decide to be whatever you want to be in fashion and designing. No particular aspect of fashion and designing is made for a particular sex. No particular aspect in fashion and designing is made for a particular sex. You would say that female styles or female clothes are made for female alone. No, and you won't say that a woman cannot become a male dressmaker. Anybody can become whatever you want to become in fashion and design. A male can be a bead maker. So it is left for you to find out where you have zeal, the particular aspects you have zeal in fashion and designing, and where you know you can do exceedingly well in fashion and designing. So these are actually the steps you take before be, uh, 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 before starting your own brand of fashion and designing, or starting your own brand in fashion and designing. These are the things you need to check. You need to check, do I want to be, ask yourself, do I want to be a female cloth maker? Do I want to be a male cloth maker? Do I want to be a children cloth maker? Do I want to be children cloth maker? Do I want to be a bidder? Some people, they are just bidders. Their area of specialization is to be bidding clothes, and they are into that, they do it perfectly. Some people, they are into gele making. It's an aspect in fashion and design, you know. Fashion and designing doesn't stop in cutting and sewing clothes. Some people, they are into gele making. They can do also gele, they can tie gele. It's their own area of specialization. So this is actually what you need to ask yourself. Which aspect will I do so well? Some people, they are into pattern drafting. They just draft patterns and sell to people. So people, that's just what they're into. They draft patterns, they sell to people. They draft patterns, they sell online. They draft patterns, and they draft patterns for these big fashionistas, big fashion industries. They are just employed there as pattern drafters. So these are the aspects you can decide to go into. But first of all, remember, you have to have the zeal. Number two, you have to have the patience to learn, you know, be consistent. As you've developed the zeal, you have to be patient and you have to be consistent. Fashion industry is not something you do today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, and in 2 months you are done. You will stay back until, let's say, 4 months, then you return back. You forget the ones you've learned. It takes consistent practicing to become a good fashion designer, or to become a good bidder, a good fashion drafter, pattern drafter. All right. So these are the things you need to consider before going into opening of your own brand or owning your own brand. All right. So the next is, you will know how to create your fashion portfolio. But let's leave that one for now. So what are the aspects? What are the aspects you can go if you are starting your own fashion brand? What are the aspects? What are the things you can do when you're starting your own fashion brand, but you don't have all the tools, you don't have all the finances to start? You can become a fashion tutorial. You can become a fashion tutor, sorry. You can become a fashion tutor. A fashion tutor in the sense that you can be teaching people. You can be employed in a fashion industry. If you are done learning, remember, first of all, have the zeal. Secondly, you learn. You become consistent while learning by practicing to become perfect in that area that you want to specialize in fashion and design. So now we are going straightly into opening of your own brand. Open your own brand, but you don't have the finance to do that. First of all, you can become a fashion tutor. You can become employed in a fashion industry, executing that particular aspect of fashion and designing that you learned. If you learn bidding, you can be employed in a fashion industry as a bidder. Some people, they are being employed on contract basis, like when there are clothes for them to bid, they will just call them, they will do that, and they will go to other places. Those people, they make a large amount of money equally. Some people, they are into drafting of patterns. They are being hired to do that, and they go. Then some are employed for some certain duration of time as probably tutors. So if you want to have your own brand in fashion and designing, and you don't have the finances, you don't have what it takes for you to do that, first of all, you can just become a tutor in a fashion house. You can become a tutor, okay? So, secondly, and don't say, I'm just a beginner. How can I become a tutor? How can I be teaching people? What boldness? Don't say that. Remember, you were once a student, and some of the people that taught you were beginners then. Some of the people that taught you were beginners. Like you were once a student, some of the people that taught you were freshers from fashion school. We are people that learned newly, but they don't have the finance to start up their own. So they decided to become employed in order to teaching people until they've gathered enough money to start their own fashion house or brand. All right. So so that is one thing you should know. This next thing is you should know that if you want to start your own fashion brand, inspiration, develop inspiration of what your brand will look like. How do you want your brand to be known? How will people recognize your brand when they see it? Will people, there must be something that people will see and say, this is this. This was this person's brand. This, just like all those designers' clothes in the market, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, all right? They have this symbol, they have their logo on their products, on their brand. So when people say, they'll say, this is Gucci now. This is Louis Vuitton now. So you must have an inspiration. What do you want your brand to look like? That is the inspiration. When you must have the inspiration of what you want your brand to look like, the next is for you to develop that your inspiration. Develop it into art. Develop it by maybe drafting it, by maybe sketching it. That's how to develop your inspiration. Because if you did not develop it, you might forget all the things you want to put in place as your inspiration. So it's good you develop it. When you have the inspiration of what you want to go into, how you want your brand to be, you can sketch it out. Tomorrow you might as well come up with another inspiration. Then you add it up to the one you've already sketched out, or you've already drawn, or you've already drafted out. Okay? So this is how you gather all your inspiration and make it a reality. Now, the next point that we need to talk about is I've talked about the next point we should talk about now is research. Make your research first. Make your research first before you go into it all, so that you will not waste the little funds you have. Assuming you have the funds to start, make your research. If you don't have the funds to start, you can get employed, just like I said before, get employed into a fashion industry and start working there. As you're working, you're gathering your money little by little, bit by bit. From there, you can start producing on your own at home in your place. Okay. As you are working for someone, remember you are gathering customers too for yourself. You're gathering customers for yourself. If you want to go into ready to wear, because these are aspects you can actually go into. It's either you work for someone, or you can go into ready to wear, or you can open a fashion house, you can open a fashion industry. So that's ready to wear. Okay. So when you're done gathering your inspiration, the next thing you have to do is